Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, this is a community project. Like I said, it's a community project. We want you to follow the project. We want you to get involved in the project. The more people involved, the more say so we have on what happens to the grocery store. We do know that Safeway owns the place. I know they talk about a lot of people just want to just move it into the grocery store. Uh, but it's up to Safeway and what they want to do at this point. Well, it's up to us and Safeway, but ultimately Safeway owns their property, so they can say what they want to do and what they don't want to do. It talks about them selling to a developer at this point. They still haven't signed with the developer, but there is a developer in mind. So with that, um, I'm going to let other community members speak, and then we definitely want to hear from, um, of course, our supervisor's office and any community members that want to, speak, anything like that. And our city family is here just to answer questions as much as they can. They've decided they'll spend their time out here with us tonight. So we want to thank them for coming out. We want to thank Hamilton, of course, for letting us use the space. I don't know if you guys know Tara, but she's a new member here, so I guess she's in her office. But yeah, so this is a town hall meeting, one of the first, but this is a community thing, like you said. So I'm gonna bring up Alice from Japantown too.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Alice Kawahatsu. I'm with the Japantown Task Force. I'm with my Kongo Church. I'm with the We Are One program, so I wear a lot of different hats. But I'm happy today to see so many people from all the different communities. So give yourself a round of applause for coming and making that effort. Thank you. Why don't you hold up those yellow signs if you have one? And let's take a picture because we're all here to fight for food justice. And it's important that we all work together as a community. We might be divided by Geary Street. We might have been divided by the bridge, but we fought to keep, that bridge there so we can, cross over it and bond with each other, get to know each other, have dialogue. That's so important. So what I wanted to say was we had a rally at the Safeway parking lot. And to me, that was a show of solidarity that this project and getting the word out to everybody that we need a grocery store, full service grocery store is really important to everybody. We have tons of seniors in our community who showed up here today. Thank you for that. We have low income families, we have families, single families with children. We have a school close by, we have library. Everything is here. We're so blessed to have that. So we want to keep that going. The most important thing I think for me is that number one, we need to communicate with the developers. We want to make sure that they know from us that we want to understand where they're coming from, what they plan to do, and to listen to our concerns. Because if they build something and it's something that we don't want, then it defeats the purpose, right? They're not listening to the community. So we want to make sure that they know who lives in this community, who works in this community, and what we need in this community. So that's number one. Number two is I'm hoping that we have some kind of plan because we know that Safeway said that they're going to stay open until January of 2025. That's to me, that's just around the corner. We worked on projects before and it goes so quickly, right? So we have to get that deadline, hit that 6 months from now. Can we have a place that we can call a supermarket if in fact they do close? Sometimes they may close early. Who knows, right? But we don't want to be left in this food desert with nothing in front of us. I went to the grocery outlet yesterday with my husband over in Pacifica. I heard that in Marin City they just opened up a grocery outlet in the lower area of income that like the immigrants that are there and the seniors that are there, and they had to wait, I think, 2 years to get this supermarket. And they were so happy when the supermarket opened because they didn't have to travel far to get their groceries. And the most important thing is that we can't do anything if we don't have our food, if we don't have our health, right? We need that. So this is important. So that's to keep that communication open to asset developers to please include us in their decisions. Listen to what we have to say. That's really important. And then the third one is that we form some kind of a alliance together where we can have updates and we can talk together. And I think this group is going to grow. Yeah, this group is going to grow, and I want to thank the Fillmore United Alliance for putting this together for us. And I want to thank the Japantown Task Force for rearranging their meeting today so I could come, and then they're also online. And for all of you leaders out there, it's really important that we stand together and fight for food justice. So thank you for being here. Okay, so who do we have next? Oh, JCC. I would like to call Paul Saki, who's the Executive Director of the Japanese Culture and Community Center. His group does so much for the community, so give him a round of applause. He was also at our rally.
Hi, everybody. My name's Paul Osaki. I work as the Executive Director of the Japanese Cultural and Community Center. We are a redevelopment project. I don't need to tell you how screwed over our communities got by redevelopment. I know sometimes you look at Japantown, you go, wow, they got a nice center and, shopping center and everything. We didn't ask for that. You know how many homes were left for Japanese Americans? 3. How many buildings they left? 2. How many trees they left? 1. They decimated our community. I grew up in a community where there were no blocks. They were surrounded by chain link fences and there was just sand. That was it. What happens here with this Safeway, the only way, this has to be a community driven project. It has to be. And the only way that's going to happen is if we stick together. The one thing developers and big businesses are good at, dividing communities. That's their number one goal when they first come in, because they know once they do that, it's like they're negotiating with one, but in reality, they're screwing over everybody. Safeway just can't walk from this project. They're going to leave that whole area blighted, and we can't allow that. They say we are blighted, and that's why they redeveloped this community. They're going to leave that whole corner blighted, and we just can't allow that to happen. No way. This has to be a community-driven project. If they have to stay longer, they're going to have to stay longer. That development is going to take years. So there's no excuse that they just got to walk away from this neighborhood. They're here to serve the community. And as a lot of you know, especially on the other side of Geary Street, they're right. Banks wouldn't come in, grocery stores wouldn't come in, a lot of services wouldn't come in. And so they just can't walk away after taking the community's money, regardless if they serve, and just leave. The community has to have a plan. It has to be community driven. I mean, thanks to cities here. But regardless, it's got to be community driven, or we're going to lose. We're going to lose this. So I'm just here to say, I'm here. Japantown is with the Black Fillmore Western District community, and we need to work something out because I'm pissed. Sorry, but it's happened too many times. I'm pissed.
One thing this thing did was bring us together. So, it's always some light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, it's brought us Japantown closer to the street. I would say the walkway, the bridge. We got half of the bridge tore down, but so we're joining, and hopefully, we get a real good outcome out of this, and not just make the project, but build some more community. Um, so we're gonna bring up our supervisor's office to just give us an update or whatever we have. So.
Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing? Can everyone hear me without the microphone? No? Use the microphone? Ace has spoken. Good evening, everyone. It's a serious matter when it's a sunny day like this and everybody on Thursday afternoon is packed into the Hamilton Rec Center on an important issue like this. What I say is, I first want to say, if you are with the city, can you raise your hand real quick? Everyone in the city, look around. So thank you, OWD, and our city partners that showed up. Thanks, planning in the back as well. Can we raise a hand for everyone with the Japantown Task Force that's here? What about the Fillmore United Alliance? Everyone raise their hand. So we've got a packed house of folks who are really passionate about what's happening at the Safeway. What I will say is, when we found out January 4th, they sent an email to our inbox. I believe it was 9:17 a.m., letting us know that they would be putting out a press release in an hour that they're going to be closing the Safeway within 2 months. We immediately contacted a bunch of constituents, residents, reached out to Chris, Daniel, OWD, our partners. We had Mgt in the back, reached out to Mgt, a whole bunch of folks to figure out kind of like what would be the next steps. From there, we were able to attend an NAACP meeting. Where out of that meeting, one of the projects that came out of that was a resolution at the full board of supervisors that we unanimously passed, calling on Safeway to, one, stay open, but two, to come to a community meeting. Let's say they listened to the first one, but not the second one, because they're not here tonight. What I will say is, we see this as a multi-phase project, right? The first phase, when they announced on January 4th they were going to be closing, it was, how do we get them to stay open? Because we knew the moment they close is going to be a blighted parking lot. So that was the first. The second stage we knew was, if they do close, we got to plan ahead to make sure we have resources for folks, our seniors, our low-income folks, people in the Fillmore, Japantown, wherever it was, to ensure that there's not gap services. And that's what we were able to partner with OWD on. And so that was the second phase. The third phase is, what happens to the development? I saw Paul just mentioned this earlier. I think, I don't want to speak for folks in this room, but for us, it's a priority that whatever development comes out of this, one, it includes a grocery store on the ground floor, but two, that we're maximizing affordability. We don't think there needs to be a full market rate project in the heart of the Fillmore on a former redevelopment lot that OCI, at the time, Redevelopment Authority sold to OCI for about $3 million. That's all they sold it for. It was a bargain. And so we see it as three phases. We're currently in phase 2. We got to stay open, but now we need to build those resources and partners with our city and partners with all of you. The Fillmore United Alliance, Japantown Task Force, community members on mapping out those next steps. We were able to have an initial meeting with some OWD folks to start to figure out what are those gaps in services if a Safeway were to close. And then secondly, when it does close, what happens to that parking lot? Because we know lighted parking lot in the heart of the Fillmore is not a good thing, right? So now we're in that phase 2, and I think that's why it's important for us all to be here to start to map out those second steps. Because ultimately, this can't be a city hall thing. We need folks to weigh in on what they would like to see there when the development comes. The transaction hasn't closed yet. So when the transaction closes, how are we weighing in on the development to maximize affordability? There was a state bill actually that passed last year that allows the redevelopment authority to potentially finance affordable units in redevelopment projects. And so we're exploring that with city attorney, and we'll be consulting with all of you on that. And last but not least, in the 80s, the Board of Supervisors passed an ordinance that demanded that anytime a grocery store closes, they by law need to give 6 months notice, and they need to meet with the city to ensure that the city's up at the table along with community around what happens in that grocery store. The ordinance passed 7 to 11 at the time our mayor in the 80s. We're actually planning to reintroduce that same ordinance to make sure this doesn't happen again. And so it won't help with this per se, but in the future, what we will know is that this can't happen again. I will leave it there. What I will say is, like, we see ourselves as partners in this, both with our city partners planning OOWD. HRC is not here tonight, but are working hard behind the scenes, along with all of our folks in the Fillmore Japanese communities, that we deserve a seat at the table, and we need to call this out for what it is. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
So yes, the Human Rights Commission is on board. They have a commissioner meeting this evening, so they're not here, but the commissioner meeting, commissioners are on board. The Human Rights Commission is on board. And of course, one of our other partners aren't here. They've been getting the call a lot. They got the call. I don't know if you want to say anything that you're able to seal that for. Good. Good. Okay. So we want to hear from you. We want to hear from the community. How do you want to start? You want to start on Zoom?
No, not on Zoom first. We got 20 people on Zoom so far, so that's a good thing. That's telling. Oh, well, yeah, that's true. Richard, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, let me. So, go ahead. I'm gonna have to do it old school style. It's almost like we got a party going on.
Yeah, I think
Where's
DC was he had his hand up earlier. Let him go first.
Oh no, go ahead.
All right. This is Rich Hashimoto. Sorry I can't be there in person. Can you all hear me?
Hold on.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. We're gonna turn it on.
Okay. I think there's a low bandwidth here, but anyway, I just want to say that, you know, I've lived in this community since 1960, and you know, I lived through the redevelopment phase and all that, but then Safeway came in, and then they made a heck of a lot of money off the community, a heck of a lot of money, and we, like the previous speaker said, we can't just let them go. They need to give back to the community some way, some fashion. Give back to the community. So, you know, I know there's a bunch of city people here, and whatever negotiations that you do with Safeway.
Richard, so yeah, Richard, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, we can't hear you at all, and I don't know how to fix that with the mic and system.
All right. Well, I'll just put it in chat. Maybe I'll just put it in chat. Maybe you can.
Or you can call in if you want to call in by telephone. That might be a little better, I guess.
Yeah. All right.
It's a possibility.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
What's the number?
What's the number?
Yeah, put it in chat.
Yeah.
Suggestion is we can have them call in on the phone and then use it from a phone and then put the speaker.
So while we get that together, let us welcome the NAACP president,
Is this on speakerphone?
Representative Brown.
I'm actually put it in chat, the telephone number.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Oh, that sounds like the film old. My apologies for being delayed, but I had to be in another meeting because we are dealing with another challenge. And that's the Martin Luther King Marcus Garvey co-op development that was named for two iconic black men. That man of Jamaica who taught us way back in the 20s to be awoke. That's where it first came from, that phrase. And then Dr. Martin Luther King, my teacher, friend, and fellow jailmate, spoke about our not sleeping through a revolution, always being alert, available, and about altruistic activities that will be for the good of our people and all the marginalized people of the world. So I'm here tonight as a member of this community and as a pastor who's moving toward 49 years at Third Baptist Church as a senior pastor. Rest assured that whatever way we can be of assistance to make sure, number one, there is a quality, substantive revitalization of the Harlem of the West. That's our spot. That's our place. There's nothing wrong with that. Or if the Chinese felt that Chinatown should be a place where they could have dragons coming out, their firecrackers. If the Japanese can have their cherry blossom. If the Italians could have Little Italy, Latinx, though some of it's been lost, but most of the mission, and the white folks got most of the financial district. We ought to have our place, and we are still committed to that as NACP. And you can't have a rainbow. All the colors are not in the rainbow. America at best is not to be a melting pot. Melting pot got a whole lot of grease, a lot of stuff that maybe we shouldn't be eating. But a salad bowl, the nutritionist tells us, is more healthy for you than a melting pot. And San Francisco will never be healthy until this African American community has its identity respected, honored, and supported. So that's my commitment. I join forces with those who have that in mind. And finally, we must not have a food desert at all. And to make sure there is productivity in the supermarket, we got to put our best minds to the task, get resources from all sectors, and have the grit, the courage, and the love to stay in the struggle until whatever goes in that parking lot engages people who look like me. Well, San Francisco will not maintain the right to say, it's all right for you to leave your heart in San Francisco. But black hearts ought to beat too. And this ought to be our enduring struggle. And we thank you for indulging me and permitting me to give these remarks.
Thank you, Reverend Brown. I guess you want to start off the questions? Let's start with you.
I just want to say, I'm just going to be really brief. But I was going to say, I don't mind Safeway staying open, but there's some issues with Safeway, such as the food's not fresh. And I was checking out the other day, just a couple of days ago, and the cashier told me she wasn't going to serve me and to get out of her line. And she told me that you just get your little stuff on another line. There's no self checkout. You can forget it. You're gonna have to put somebody put their hands all over your food. Then she said, I said, if you're close, you turn your light off. Because like 3 or 4 people after me came and said, are you open? And her light was on and said, well, turn your light off so people can keep getting lights. I gotta do the damn thing. So she said to me and said, I ain't doing nothing for you, nigger. I'm like, hold on. Where's your manager? I talked to the manager. Well, I didn't hear. I don't care what you didn't hear. You over here. She was over here. She called me in there and told me to get out of her line. She wasn't serving me. She let somebody come up right behind me and serve them and check them out. She left and came back. Everybody could check out in her line. She never turned the light off. So they picking and choosing what they can do. Not only the food's not even fresh, you can tell. So I don't mind Safeway staying open. I think there'll have to be some changes around there. I got some family members that are really nasty too in that store and in the neighborhood. And I just don't want to tolerate it. We're not going to tolerate my family and me being mistreated by the neighborhood because you got something to prove. That's just the way it is. That's all I have to say.
Good afternoon, everyone. I wasn't going to speak, but I do have to set the record straight. So, first of all, thank you all for being here. It's hard to sit back and listen and to receive some that I feel this is so far from the truth and not stand on what I want to stand on and say. So I want to say it in the most respectful way I can. To you, Preston, since you represent Dean Preston, if you want to work with us in this community, be truthful. Let's start with that. Also, respect our mayor and meet with our mayor. Let's start with that. Don't look confused because your office is not meeting with her. And I asked her, and I asked her people who set up the meetings, they said you're not. So if you want to come to this meeting right here and have a dog and pony show, that's one thing. But there's some people in the room that know what's really going on, and I'm one of them. And I want you to be transparent and be real about what you're saying. Because at the end of the day, when this all came out, it was our mayor who sat down with those people at Safeway, not your office. And I know because I went there, around NAACP, and they hadn't met with you, and they wouldn't meet with you all. And they hadn't met with her, and she worked out a deal. And so I said that because I want to set the record straight so you all will know that I talked to one of my friends is a regional manager of Safeway. He said, Howard, we have never said we were leaving an area and stayed. This is the first time that ever happened. So with that being said, with all due respect, since the mayor get killed for everything that he allegedly does wrong, if she gets something right, let's give her credit for it. That's what I believe in. If she did something wrong, we can hold her accountable. But if she did it right, don't take credit for what she did. I don't like it. It's not right, and I want to say that out loud. Everybody in this community room right here, I really appreciate you all coming together. I think Reverend Brown said it best. Everybody got their slice of the pie except for us. And we're so divided that we can't come together to stand on our business. I'm at the position now, I feel, as a black man in this community, if I can't protect my elders, my auntie sitting right there, if I can't protect children, and I can't protect our children, our black women, I don't know who I am as a man. And that's what I'm standing on. So all this shenanigans and all that stuff, I ain't with it. If you're gonna be here, if your office gonna be here, be truthful and transparent. You know, our mayor is willing to work with anybody. She's not closing her doors. So in order for us to get on one accord, let's start with the truth. All right? I'm happy to see my Japanese brother. I love his dog over there. He's not barking today. That's good, but I love that dog. At the end of the day, I want to say that out loud because we got to stop giving mistruth. And that's what I'll say.
We definitely appreciate that. We definitely did appreciate Mayor Breed for done what she done for the community in the Safeway project. But this is about the community. It's not about the mayor's office. It's not about the president's office. It's about us that stay here, that's going to develop that Safeway together. We stand united, and we're going to stand united in this room. It's not about the mayor's office. It's not about Dean's office. At the end of the day, it's about go to that grocery store. At this point, we're united, and we're going to keep talking as United Front. Reverend Brown called for a coalition. We're going to continue to build the coalition with the NAACP, and we can talk to our mayor, we can talk to our supervisor, but ultimately, we have to join forces as a community. The mayor's an elected official, Dean is an elected official. They're both running for office this season, right? So we don't know what's going to happen in January. We got to respect both of them. They're both in office, but we have to start coming together and respect each other in this community and join for whoever comes in office next year. We have to deal with this Safeway project. It's March. They're talking about January. So we need to really bump up our speed and get an understanding from both the mayor and the supervisor on what we're going to do.
For the whole purpose of maintaining Safeway for all of us, which sells not only food, but prescription, medicine, all kinds of things. I have on my back fence, I live in St. Francis Square, a painting of Martin Luther King because I consider him the Jesus of America. And we can use the painting, it's beautiful. And it's not its beauty so important, it's keeping all of us alive and allowing us to be able to go shop, to be able to walk, perhaps not drive. If some things have to be changed, if something has to, they have to tell us what they're going to change. Are they going to take out all the things on the other side? Safeway can't go. Safeway, there was a store called Food Co. on Eddy and Webster or thereabouts. It's
Land.
totally gone.
Food Land.
There, and that we need the Safeway.
Speaking of Mike,
My MLK picture, I consider him the Jesus of America. Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a couple questions about one, the developer and where we stand as far as meeting with the developer. My next question, though, has to do with City Hall and the influence that City Hall has on big business. And if we're going to be truth tellers, then we got to be truthful about the fact that both the mayor's office and the president's office, when the announcement was made public, talked about how excited they were, and maybe that's not the word. So don't shoot the messenger, but there was some excitement about the fact that housing was going to be coming. There was a comment made about, oh, Trader Joe's going to be coming to Hayes Valley, as if that was going to be the alternative. I want to know, and maybe the politician room can let me know, how much influence have on stopping this. It's all nice and dandy to show up after the announcement is made. I get that you got it when you got it, but there's a lot of stuff going on Safeway for a very long time, since the decimation of the Fillmore, since the ethnic cleansing in the Fillmore. So this is not anything that is new, and what irritates me and takes me off to the highest level of passivity is the fact that everyone shows up after people in the community vote politicians into the office, but you can't get a meeting, you can't have a conversation. I've reached out to Mr. Preston, still have yet to be heard from or heard back. So I want to know politicians in the what level of influence, because we need to keep, there's influence. Politics is a lot of time politics. So let's keep it real about who has the power. Yes, people will be happy that all of us showed up, but will all of us be heard? Will we get to meet with the developer? I get that Safeway doesn't want to come because they're doing what they're doing. It's dollars and cents. We don't matter. The people that live in this community don't really matter. And when we get down to it, when you look at Black and Brown communities, and even from Japantown on up, nobody cares about the people who don't have the dollars and cents to really make a difference. Our vote matters. That's why everybody's talking about the election now. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, they don't think that money makes a difference. Safeway has made a hell of a lot of money off of this community. And for them to act like we don't matter is a kick in the butt and a slap in the face. And I'm really sick of it. I'm tired of being here in the Fillmore and not looking like the Fillmore anymore, not feeling like the Fillmore. So I digress. Again, to politicians, influence. What you have to do, to say, to be, to show up every day for Safeway and the developer to understand that we did business. And what does the community have to do? Like, where do we need? Tell me, because I'll be there. I got time to be there. Those are the things that I need to know.
Well, unfortunately, we have city staff here, and we have supervisor staff. So we can take it back. But, right, but I will let Kim from the dean's office.
That yours? I need your name. Sorry, so sorry. It's a pleasure to meet you. So yeah, so your question was related to what can be the pressure. What I will say is, when in January, when they first announced they were going to close, they were fully intending to close. Like, let's be very honest about that. And what I will say is, between I think mayor's pressure, between the board supervisors, it's rare for us to unanimously pass things sometimes. Like, the entire board of supervisors spoke up in support of the resolution that making Safeway closes. The mayor's office spoke up. I'll say people take this very seriously. What I would say though, it's not just going to happen at City Hall. That will the developer's been very clear that they have not closed the deal yet, and so they do not feel kind of responsible to the community yet. What I will say though is they will feel responsible very soon. Them wanting to propose something, and that's where all of you come in. Paul Osaki mentioned earlier my community benefits. Right right now the space it's private land. I mentioned this earlier. The redevelopment authority, now OCI, sold the property in the east. And so the city's control with respect to like outside of zoning and other things like that, it's pretty limited in terms of forcing Safeway to make a decision around the sale. But what we can do is we can work with community, like unanimous reso of the board, work with the mayor's office, the department's OW's here, who's planning to be on the scenes, going to do some meetings in April around what do we want to see there. What we can do is influence the community benefits. So we talk about like guaranteeing a grocery store there. The developer needs to hear loud and clear what folks want. What kind of grocery store do we want? OWD is doing some work right now to like what the different models are, what the different options are. It doesn't necessarily guarantee what that ends up being, but the first step is hearing from all of you around what we want to see there. I heard someone earlier say Safeway's not been a great partner. I may have heard this wrong a while ago. If you think Reverend Brown mentioned this, or Reverend Towns, I can't remember, at the NAACP meeting back in January. They've donated all they've done over the years. They donated a few $100s to a Juneteenth event in the 90s. Outside of that, I mean, Safeway. Let's be very honest. Safeway's not been a good partner. A lot of folks community rely on them for food, but long term, the question is, do we even want Safeway there? And again, going back to like all of the folks in this room, people who are on Zoom, it's going to come down to the community benefits, getting that grocery store on the ground floor, getting that commitment, and then again, the deep affordability. Do we want the developer building market rate condos? I'll speak from our perspective, we don't. Is it a mixed use project? Let's talk about that. I mentioned earlier there's a state bill. We're working with the city attorney's office to understand what's in that state bill. So maybe we can work with OCI, the development authority that sold it, to have them right the wrongs and deeply finance a potential mixed use unit or something along those lines. So that's what we need to do. It's going to be a partnership for sure. But what I'll say is like we got to stay open. But like the rest of the battles, we're not even close. It's the key benefits. That's going to be the key piece.
And I understand that. I guess my skepticism is not right here. When we have politicians talking about how great it's going to be to get housing there, because we know the state of San Francisco, but yet now we're a partnership that we're all on board. You can't be speaking out of both sides of your mouth, and I don't mean you in particular, but that's where my skepticism comes.
So I got Jamil and Michelle, and we will come up here.
Well, some people overall, I think as a community, we got to take heat, start playing offense. I remember Reverend Brown had a meeting over at Third Baptist months ago talking about this Safeway situation before it came to fruition, about how the security was allowing people to walk in and not even do nothing about it, right? So, this has been a plan. And, it's like, it's not even just the Safeway, it's the whole community. There's been a lot invested in this community, and it's almost like it's been held hostage decade after decade, as far as creating foot traffic and bringing the vibrancy back. As far as my experience over there, that Safeway, it ain't even about the Safeway, that Safeway is how I could tell these black people in the community. I see children, I see the families, I see the community. Back in the days, they used to say, you can see somebody from the streets, you see a politician, all on the same corner. I see Reverend Townsend talking to some brother. I see Daniel right there, all in the same spot. So you don't need it to turn into a vortex. But also, what I'm hearing as far as like maybe the opportunity, if they do build housing in a grocery store, let it be housing for the people. Let that be housing for COP holders, right? And we need something there because it'll turn into a vortex. And are we trying to create more foot traffic in our communities? And what I want to say right now is, with the Black and Japanese coalition, we are defeating boxes, because they want to divide us. They want to make Asian community about community, Black community about violence. And now we all want the same thing. This is a San Francisco thing. We want vibrant communities. And I don't want to be no political football. You know, where it's like the community is thrown back and forth, held hostage in between politics. You know, watch Punch Line. It's a documentary about Harold Washington, and it shows you how they held Chicago hostage between battles between politicians. Because they ain't like Harold Washington because he was black. You know, so it's all power to the people at the end of the day. If the people aren't involved in the decision making, then our cities, our states, and our countries turn into a dictatorship. And then the developers just do what they want to do. You know, so you have community benefits, and you have a lot of things that was owed to this community in the past, and we need to start acting on that. And with that, I'll land the plane.
So we got a lot of, we got a lot of people online that want to give public comment, but I know you got a line, Shelly, you got Dr. Brown, and then Ken. But then let's go to the people online. So,
He's just kind of directing traffic. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna back up for a minute. We're gonna come back out here, but we want to get an update, but we want to get some historical content on Safeway. And the Reverend Towns is one that has some historical context on Safeway. So we're gonna let him give the historical background from being in that era, and then we'll come back up again.
Thanks, Eris. I'm glad to see so many out. Let me just say a couple of things here, and I will be as brief as I can. I have been in Fillmore since 1967, and the sad part of that is that I was grown when I got here. So that means I'm old. And what I see and what I've seen, and then I'll just ask you, let's not get carried away with false solutions that are not going to work. And all over this town, they're asking for more policemen. And you know, and I know that some of the stuff that goes on around in the Safeway is ridiculous. And I don't care how broke you are. You know, when folk come in with garbage bags and just fill it up with stuff that ain't theirs. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine that people, but Safeway did nothing about it for years. You could see people walk in and pick up stuff and walk out when they got ready. Now that, and they did nothing about it, and by doing nothing about it, they encouraged it. And now it's at crisis point, and they will put everybody who can walk in jail. Let me tell you something, because that's all over town. It's being used as a cudgel in this mayor's race. And let me tell you something. Like I say, I'm 80 years old. And people have been talking about crime, and let's put them in jail. Let's put them in jail. First of all, before crime got to the level it has, we've been asking for help for the people who are left outside without much resources, without much help, and everybody ignored it. Now everybody's talking about it, and their solution is jail. Let me just tell you this, and I'll move on to more of historical context. Let me tell you this. I have never in my life seen crime go down to any. And right now, we've got, in this country, let alone California, we've got more people in jail serving longer sentences than in the history of this country, and crime has not gone down. Obviously, that's a system that's not working, but y'all keep on giving them more and giving them more money to do the same thing they've been doing, and that's to get no results from people. Obviously, we're talking about system of arrest and incarceration. It is not working. For hundreds of years, it hasn't worked. And if you work like that on your job, you'd be fired. If our net organizations operated the way the criminal justice system operates, they couldn't keep getting funded. So we really got to look at how we address problems in our community and try to craft or hear solutions that work. And whether you think coming at it another way works or not, what we've been doing ain't working. It's time to try something new. It just is. I know, y'all want to call me a liberal and all whatever name I go under now, because somebody's always naming me. You know what I mean? I used to be called a progressive. Now the progressive don't call me no more. I haven't changed. I just got older. And an old progressive looks silly trying to do what a young progressive does. Understand that, because however progressive you are, you're gonna get old if you're lucky. So, but let me just say, I got here, and not long after I got here, the Safeway, where the police station is now, that was Safeway, and it shut down. As redevelopment got more severe in the community, and we had Mayfair Market, where Webster Tower is right now. Where the Success Center, it was right there. And then it closed down because of the redevelopment disruption to the community. And we were left, what, about 15, 20 years without a market. All we had was a food land. And without a market in this community, and quite frankly, it would have made more sense for the city to put money into food land than it was for us to go without a supermarket for 15, 20 years. And finally, there was a chance to get Safeway. And they gave away the store to get Safeway. They almost had nothing. They paid almost nothing for the land. And now they want to sell it at top dollar. Now, if you buy affordable housing for sale, and some years later, you decide you want to, or you have food, you can only sell that at whatever the affordable rate is at the time you sell it. And all of that, for example, you could buy somewhere at a co-op, and when you got it, you pay $200,000. Now it's worth $300,000 as affordable, but on the market, you get $600,000 or $700,000. You can only sell it for $3. Anything over that, you have to split it with the city. And so now, but with Safeway, that's not the case. They get to sell this property for market rate, and none of it comes back to the community, but the community gave up its land to build it. I'm just trying to point out the general of what's been going on and what Safeway is contemplating and what the city is going to allow them to do, because they don't have the restrictions on commercial properties that they sell for affordable rates than they do for homeowners and citizens. So, and then the unfairness was, at that time, Willie Brown, the late Dr. Carlton Goodnick, the late Roosevelt Carey, who was an insurance man in this community, and Percy Steele, used to be late Percy Steele, the Urban League. They were had designated the rights to build Fillmore Center. They were not going to build because the city would not give them a left turn on Geary. And they said to build a shopping center where Fillmore Center is now, they said, we can't put it there unless we capture the traffic going out toward the Richmond and Sunset on Geary. I was in a meeting where they told us if they do something at Geary Boulevard, like that left turn, that'll mess up traffic all over the city. And that it'll mess up traffic in the Excelsior district. I heard them say it. And so they couldn't build. Safeway goes up, and they're having, and I look up and see a left turn lane off Geary, and there's never been a hearing, not one that I was told about, because if you were coming from the east on Geary headed towards to get on Fillmore, y'all remember you had to turn right on Webster, go down post to Fillmore, and then turn left down into Fillmore. I'm sitting over there getting ready to turn right one time, And I look over to my left, and cars is turning left off here, and I didn't even know it was there. And that's how we bent over backwards to get Safeway in here. And this is how they treat us in return. This is what they give back in return, which is nothing, nothing. And so understand that when the community is making demands, it's not without good reason. The community is asking simply for what they deserve to give, and also you should know for a number of years after this Safeway right here opened, it was the #1 store in Northern California for a number of years. For a number of years, that's the number. And so, like someone said, Safeway came out here and made a fortune. And now when we're in crises, when we're having some tough times, which people are having tough times all over the country, we get no support from them in return. And over years, Juneteenth, which our organization started Juneteenth back in '74, and from '74 to now, the most I've ever known, Safeway to give Juneteenth, for example, which can you imagine the money they make, especially we do Juneteenth weekend. People from all over Northern California, it was a regional festival, was spending money in Safeway on those 2 days of fortune. And once again, now that we're having tough times in our community. And finally, we get no help from Safeway, but finally, you need to know that the idea that Macy's and everything in this city is shut down because of crime. Crime is bad. Crime has always been bad. But if you can pick up Facebook and have those platforms on social media, and you can find articles almost every day how what they call that, Amazon is destroying shopping centers and standalone stores all over the country. Malls are shutting down. And as we get younger, it gets more difficult because, you know, I like to go to the store and touch what I'm gonna buy. But when we get to San Francisco, it's all about crime. And I'm telling you, that's a false flag. I'm almost done, but they need to hear that. That's a false flag to win elections and to try to infiltrate San Francisco and the Bay Area with right-wing politicians, trying to give them strength and an edge to get a foothold in San Francisco and California. They blame everything here on crime, but in everywhere else in the country. One final thing. They have moved out a minimum of 50,000 Black and Latino people. Now, you don't notice the Latinos because of immigrants. That population continues to grow. But the Latinos we lose are the people who are indigenous to San Francisco, born and raised here. They can't find jobs any easier than Black people can. Those are not the people we're losing in San Francisco. And we're losing the people left and right. And one of the other reasons we're losing them, the people, indigenous Black folk, indigenous Latinos, where do they shop? They shop in stores. Who's replacing them in San Francisco? Primarily young white folks who shop online. And that's why you got the crisis at the downtown. And once again, being blamed on crime. And hear me real close. When you hear crime, you can just substitute the word Black for that. And for criminals in this town. If you remember on the news a few months ago, when they were talking about Asian hate at the time, and they kept showing pictures of Asian folk being robbed, Asian folk being assaulted, the criminal was always Black. Do y'all seriously believe that the only people that hated Asians and was talking Asian hate was Black folk? Black folk was talking about it less than anybody. But every time you saw somebody get run, and you mean to tell me during that whole crisis in San Francisco, there were no Asians assaulted by white people? But you didn't see any because there was a purpose for what you saw. And if you all don't quit listening to false narratives and start kick back, ask questions when you do that, we're going to be worse off than we are, because when you listen to that nonsense, you give the people license to assault us. And finally, understand that you all remember defund the police? Yeah. And the police, and I know, because I know people who are cops, underground within the force, if y'all will excuse the expression, there was the underground with a lot of cops, not all of them. It was, well, if they don't want us to have no money to fight crime, fuck it, we'll quit fighting them and we'll let them deal with the niggers themselves. That's what was being said within a lot of police departments. You remember when defund the police came out, they started resigning left and right. If we can't beat them up no more, we quit, and you deal with it. So we got to understand that it's a long fight we're in, and the fight has to do with who controls America. It has nothing to do with crime in our streets and crime in our streets. They've never done anything for us about crime before. Go ahead, man.
So we had to yield time to our historian, our elders. So I know I'm gonna go back.
My name is Lynette. I could donate to say that. Wait, let me just say that. We all know during the 70s, 60s, and 70s, redevelopment came through and took our homes. Took a lot of homes. I am an investigator with the Certificate of Preference Program. What I'm here to say is that I'm looking for been displaced because the city has a certificate of preference for them as well as their kids, what we call the descendants, and their kids. But it's hard to reach you guys. So I'm here to say, find me, put your name on the list, and I'm gonna send you the form that is, click it, and you put your name in there, and they're gonna contact you regarding your certificate, because there's many, many certificates out there for you, for everyone that was displaced. And it's just easy to come to these forums and talk to our people about it. So make sure you see me after the meeting. Didn't want to change the subject, but I definitely wanted to get it in while there was a lot of people here. Thank you.
What we doing is
You want me to try to get the
doing
microphone?
Zoom, you ready? Oh, sorry.
Harris?
Yeah, do we have any type of legal representation? Because it seems like we need to file some lawsuits or something, because they voted to approve reparations. Then I don't know where that's at. You know, they promised this, they promised that. You know, all these promises and all this other stuff is ridiculous. I think the community, you know, should consider thinking about, if Safeway wants to move, let them move, and the community run the supermarket, like there's got one that's called Rainbow. And that way you can hire the community, then the community can become managers of the learn how to do it and all that. Let them move if they want to move. But you know, you guys are dynamic. The Fillmore, you ran the Fillmore when it was bustling. You know, the people ran the Fillmore. You guys run it. Stop giving up and saying, oh, we can't do it. Let them do it. It's the people of the Fillmore. You guys are dynamic and don't believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You can do it. You know, I'm from the old school. I remember when the Fillmore was bustling. You know, all kind of black businesses and all that up and down Fillmore. That's what made Fillmore strong. We ran the businesses. But what happened? They took all the business away.
You ain't got no black businesses now. But at one time, it was all black businesses down there, you know, and we looked after one another. So people, you know, come together if they want to move, okay, but don't stop the trucks coming in. You know, we'll run the store, you know, and then all that stealing and stuff will stop. Because we know all the people that's really stealing on the for real, you know. So, you know, I just want y'all to think, you know, where you come from. You come from a dynamic community. The Fillmore Harlem of the West is known all over the world. You know, you're dynamic. People, you're dynamic. And there's my man Jamil. Now they went down to the Tenderloin and they went to the mouth of the line down there and straightened them out. You guys are dynamic. You're dynamic. You know, if they want to move, just figure out a plan. Who gonna do stuff like who gonna run it? You got people to run that place and do it yourselves. You know, and stop begging. Okay.
Well, I just have some historical things, but Reverend Townsend did a lot of it. But my experience with Safeway, because I was there when it first built, when they had construction on Fillmore Street. And I had a food program out of Safeway. They was used to give us the bread and pastries and stuff like that at that one on Webster Street. But I noticed and I found out there was a Ku Klux Klan working back there in the bakery. And so I don't know if Reverend Brown remember when we had the NAACP and the Rainbow Coalition was in town, and we went against Safeway, got the guy fired. So Safeway has a bad history of the people working there. A Ku Klux Klan was working back there in the bakery. We don't know what he was putting in the food there. So that's just my take, but just watch Ace on the Case Washington. I'll give you more in-depth later.
So we got one speaker online.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Mr. Dennis Williams, born and raised in the Fillmore. I appreciate the city government that's there, appreciate the supervisor's office, and appreciate United Fillmore for having it. I'm a sub-chair of the Fillmore Merchants Collaborative. I'm also the owner of a micro real estate development company, and I'm also a member of the SF Hyperlocal Building Trades Collaborative that is 15 plus Black men and women in the construction field, from subcontractors, general contractors, and so forth. My question, I have a few things to say. And also, let me say this too. I'm an awarded community leader by the Board of Supervisors. Billions are leaving our Fillmore community. Freedom West is being redeveloped, Plaza East Apartments being redeveloped, Buchanan Mall, and now the Safeway. And as I tell Supervisor Dean Preston and OEWD, what is being done to employ local Black real estate developers and contractors, truckers, to lucrative contracts or joint ventures with some of these luxury developers that they are allowing to come into the city from out of state. And so far, in the last 2 to 3 years, nothing has came out of it. But I can't leave it there just at the supervisors, because the mayor herself has not ensured that our community is at work and receiving some of these contracts that are simply going to, again, luxury, out-of-state, billionaire developers. I just gave you 3 to 4 projects in the Fillmore. Freedom West is a $1.something billion project. Plaza East, where I live on Eddy Street, the old OC, is being redeveloped. but they're redeveloping our buildings not for us. The same thing they're doing for the Safeway. They're trying to build it not for us. So what is being, and I like the gentleman that spoke and stated that the supervisor's office and others have to be truthful and transparent. The people have control, but how much control? You hear us say, you have to hire our businesses so we can employ the youth. We can job train our youth and young adults, re-entry. You say desperation, theft, drug use, and a lot of hopelessness is going through District 5, and that is true. But it's not just the Black community as far as the theft. I mean, we have to look at the cause, excuse me. And the cause is we don't have a way to sustain ourselves, feed ourselves. We can't even work in our own communities. As a developer, I'm able to hire from the community, and it's being taken away from us. For what reason? I don't know. So that's why I want to know, what is the NAACP, our Black leadership? What is being done to ensure that we have a seat at the table with these developers? And like the gentleman said, if they want to leave, fine. We're confident, we're strong, we can build our own. We have the workforce, we have the capacity, we just need the opportunity. Equal opportunity policies are not being, are being non-compliant by a lot of the city agencies. So until City Hall stops their discriminatory policies, racism, and just overlooking, because a lot of our officials are not native to San Francisco. So they don't understand our history of how Japantown, our brothers and sisters there, Chinatown, our brothers and sisters there, all go in coalition with D5 and the Fillmore. Unfortunately, our Fillmore is being taken away piece by piece, bit by bit. And for 3 years, I've advocated, I've won awards, I've done cohorts. I have too many awards, but I have no contracts. And that's egregious conduct. So I appreciate it. I'm not gonna take too much of your time, but I was tired of getting the blame as a young Black man in the Fillmore. You hear crime, they just stereotype and look at you. I went to St. Dominic's, Sacred Heart, went on to college, and I come back to my community to implement change instead of pointing fingers. So yet and still, we're being blackballed because I guess talking like this and being informative to your people, and being strong and willing, not to take no for an answer is frowned upon. So I just want to say this: we need to ensure that our community of the Fillmore, our brothers and sisters, are on these projects. And the same thing with Japantown. If there are brothers and sisters and speak so eloquently of our relationships and even the Chinatown CDC, but yet have no Black developers or contractors or even truckers on any of their redevelopment projects, I hope we can change this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. So, no, that was the only. Okay, well, we have the city's office that want to give an advertisement, or you want to come up? Yeah, we got you, Rep. You gonna close us out with the action. We got you. Just hold on. It's all right. Just hold a little bit longer, brother. Hold on a little bit longer.
We're gonna make this fast, Reverend Brown, because you mad. Okay. My name is Nicola, and this is Jada. We are from the Office of Economic Workforce Development. And the question, I heard bits and pieces of the young man on the computer on the Zoom. And one of the things you guys can do is to become a city vendor. You have to go through the processes. You have to apply to become a city vendor in order for you to get those contracts. There are agencies that OEWD supports that you can check in with, you can register with, and you can talk to them about helping you guys fill out the information, applications. You can always call me. I think we had a conversation before, so you're welcome to call me. Anybody who needs to talk, you are welcome to call me. I am always available. I'm easy to get in contact with. I prefer email. Don't call the, the phone because I might not answer it. But you email me, I email you right back. So just to kind of answer a little bit of your question.
I'm registered. I'm a registered bidder and I'm an approved supplier. And I've been so for 3 years. I'm a registered bidder and an approved supplier. Thank you.
So when the RFPs come out, sir, just make sure you apply because that's how it works. Now again,
Well, they also have a lot of awarded contracts.
You're welcome.
Because I can never outbid a luxury developer. But thank you.
Regarding the we have a few. Well, let me say this on behalf of Mayor Breed, HRC, OEWD, and the Planning Department. We have about 5 meetings in the month of April. We have 3, I believe, is in person. We have 2 that are going to be virtual. We have flyers. We didn't bring a lot because we want you all, before you leave, to scan the QR code. The QR code is going to ask you a few questions. It's going to ask you the day you want to attend. And then you will receive information back from HRC regarding these community planning meetings. Now, these meetings will be held throughout the community. We are really trying to reach everybody. We are going into the senior developments. We are talking to everybody about Safeway. We are doing our best on the back end. And I know to you all, it might not look like it, but I promise you, when I tell you they are fighting, they are fighting. Mayor Breed is behind the scenes and she is fighting. She grew up here. Her grandmother had to walk to that store. My grandmother had to go to Safeway. So we all come from Fillmore, born and raised. And we understand what's going on in our community. And we are fighting. Yes, there's bureaucracy. Yes, there's red tape, yellow tape, green tape, whatever you want to call it. It's all of the above. But we're going to cut through those tapes.
Yes, let us work.
We're going to continue to fight for you all. We are not giving up. We are not giving up. Understand, this is a fight, and I love everything that everybody said in here when it comes to unity. We got to fight together, first and foremost, because we don't fight together. We walk our walk, we talk our talk by ourselves. And it's not about individuals up in here. It's about all of us. Right. And if you worked with me, you know I will take my city hat off quick and have a real conversation because I want us to be together. We do have Black businesses on Fillmore. Support those Black businesses. We have Asian businesses. We have everything on Fillmore. Support them. Y'all don't. We got a Black in the Black right here on the corner. How many of y'all been in that business?
It was built by a white man.
Room. And look how many people have not. Support our businesses. Support our Black businesses. We got another Black restaurant coming in less than a month. Support them. That's all funded by Mayor Breed.
Not Pia Harris.
Funds come from her, then it trickles down to OEWD. We work with supervisor's office. We work with HRC. So let's be clear that this fight ain't just about the politicians. The fight is about us, and we need to get out there and support one another. Stop complaining about what's not happening, what we're not doing. Let's come together, attend these meetings so your voices can be heard, because we have and we will continue to fight this fight. Thank y'all.
That's Fillmore, not city, that's Fillmore. Reverend Brown, you ready to close, man? You got the solution?
Mr. Chairman, everybody here. The first instance when our ancestors called for reparations, it was about land, those 40 acres, and later a mule.
And that resulted in field order number 15 that set aside 40 acres on the coast of Florida up into South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. What am I suggesting? Since I read 10 years ago that this 94115 zip code is one of the most sought after zip codes for development in this nation. Let's put the brakes on the plan that this man has for that land in the Fillmore. And we get together, 40,000 of us, 40,000. So that what? He and the powers that be can see us. John Steinbeck said once, I wonder how many people in my life have I just looked at, but I did not see. I looked at, but I did not see. It's time that this city sees us and feels us. And we got together a movement of 40,000 of us with our friends who will stand up as I will stand up and say, Al Core, Phil Core, whatever the core his name is, we don't want you in the Fillmore. If we do that and state the case and let the message go around the world that Black folks and our allies are stopping a grab for land that rightfully belongs to us. If we don't do that, all of our talk tonight is just talk. But it's time for us to start walking and running and flying if we're going to stop this land grab, the last instance to give that land to this developer. That's it. And if we get together, we will be seen. Mr. Chairman, I present that as a recommendation.
When can we coalition? When can we go? When can we have the next one at your church?
Yeah, we have next one, yeah.
Okay, we'll follow up on that at you with your next one.
Mr. Chairman, we will get 40,000 out. Y'all got a whole lot of Ray, Samantha. Get them together. We can do it maybe around the time of the Supreme Court anniversary, the month of May, before Juneteenth. If we get our folks together and they see us, that means all hands have got to be on deck. Focus on one thing, of making sure that they see us and that we don't want this developer to be seen anywhere turning over a spade of dirt in that area. What'd you say, Mr. Chairman, and everybody?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready for the fight?
Ready for the fight.
With all of your might?
Yes.
Let's just go for it. All right, 40-40.
So,
all right, let's get together now. Let's move on. 40-40. Didn't get our 40 acres out mule. We're not gonna let nobody snatch this time. That acres there in the Fillmore. But rightfully belongs to us.
We got a few more online, and we have a few more in the audience. And just a little housekeeping. No, I'll say that. Got two online ones.
There's two more people who want to speak. Online, you can make that comment now.
Did she leave?
I think we're good. We should take a picture though.
So I wanted to remind everyone too, I waited to the end for this, then I'm gonna let you say your last word. So we still have a petition. Now, I'm taking in everything that's been said earlier, and of course, we recognize that we don't necessarily, we're not gonna beg Safeway to stay. However, they gotta leave a certain way. That's what this whole meeting was about, was to get feedback from the community as well as updates, hopefully from our city and key individuals in the community, so we can now go back with that plan. Right, Dr. Brown. So this petition, though, this petition can lead into the movement. Anytime you record a name, information, that just helps you out in the future. So I want y'all, when you get a chance, to tell a friend or go to change.org. Keep Safeway open. And if you type that in, it will come up, and make sure that you sign it. And again, and tell a friend, and continue to build that petition. Go ahead.
Thank you. I will be happy to sign it. Safeway is for everybody, all races and religions, for all human beings. It handles prescriptions and food, and it's taking up a lot of space, and it has a lot of room to hold the stuff, and we need to keep it, or it's going to be very hard to go get food. So that's the main goal. We are keeping Safeway for everybody, and from this, we are going to learn that we're not going to fight. We're going to love each other.
That's what I appreciate it.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Emily Urase from the Japantown Task Force, and wanted to express our allyship with everybody in this room. We brought COVID test kits. We hope people will take them with them, because we all want to be safe and healthy. I had one quick announcement. We learned this morning that the federal government has awarded San Francisco a $2 million planning grant to do something with the Fillmore intersection to bring Japanese and historic Jewish communities together. So you'll hear more, but it's another opportunity for us to all work together. And I'm very inspired by the folks in this room. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're rolling. We get a few more in. I got to see you, Reverend Thompson.
Thank you. My name is Leonard Priestley. Normally, I don't come to these kind of events, but when you talk about, I was born on Pine and Fillmore. Guess where I live at now? Pine and Fillmore. Okay. My parents said, do not sell. I didn't sell. Matter of fact, I've had a business in Fillmore for 50 years. Okay. I moved from one place to another. Dr. Goodlick, Dr. Dickey, all those people helped me with different things. A lot of people didn't believe in what I was trying to do because of the fact that, matter of fact, because I was Black. Even the Black people in the community. But at the same time, there are people like Ken, everybody in here supported me in one way or another. I had to, for 3.5 years, paying $1,500 a month. He told me how to buy it, okay? But I didn't have the organization strong enough to do it at that point. I do have a building now for 1 year open in Folsom Street that we bought. Right next to Buco. So, but the whole point of it is, our goal after we started, we saw, I had all these housing complexes. We saw that we need to help our people to grow, our young people. We gave them jobs. I have a security company. It is a nonprofit, so we can't go after city bids because of that situation. But that was okay. We still made 50 years. And all I'm saying is that we need to still work together. I went to Dean President, and he promised to meet with me a number of times, but he hasn't. Okay. We talked once or twice. He's supposed to get back to you, right? Okay, I just want to say that because you were there, all right? And I'm just letting you know, that sometimes the politicians, if they see something that's not exactly in what they need, they kind of miss us. 50 years in a community and no support from the politicians, but we still made it. And also we were able to buy a building that's over a few $1 million, okay? But still need support from our community leaders. I just want to say that.
A non-controversial announcement. I'm watching TV last night and I landed on one of the prime channels and a program was just coming on called Silver Dollar Road. It's an area in North Carolina where Black folks own a Black family owned hundreds of acres that included their own beach, and which became a Black beach. And the land, even though it's rural, it will remind you so much of Fillmore because it was just taken without legal recourse. And when the people refused to walk away from it, then the civic officials got involved to help white people take the land. And when the show first started, the 90-year-old matriarch of the family said the reason they still had the family, that when her 90-year-old grandfather died, he told the baby, whatever you do, don't let the white folks take our land. And the men in the family spent 8 months in jail because because they refused to sign away the land. It's a brilliantly done 2023 documentary. And I would suggest folks watch it because the only reason they were able to keep it is perseverance. Yes. They refused to give in no matter who told them to give in. And if we're going to keep any semblance of the history of this community, we've got to do, well, you all have to do the same. I'm 80, ain't but a little bit I'm gonna try to do, so get that straight. But y'all, life is okay for me right now, but it won't be if I start trying to keep up with y'all. But y'all ain't got to just take it. I will say, there was a time, Ace and with Daniel, your daddy was there. Some of it, that folk used to go down to City Hall and turn over tables. Yeah. If they felt they weren't being heard. I'm not suggesting y'all break the law, but I'm just letting you know seriously we used to take the initiatives in this community. That somebody was talking about jobs. Don't tell me, go tell the people where jobs are given. Young men used to call me up looking for jobs because we used to be, my organization was a part of that. And he called me in the afternoon looking for a job. First thing I said, man, jobs are given away in the morning. That's number one, time to go to work. Secondly, how are you going to get a job? I said, well, where are you? At home. I said, was it a job in your house when you woke up, when you went to bed? No, well, it ain't gonna be none when you wake up. Jobs are given away outside. We've got to take this thing very serious because I ain't gonna do it now, but well, you'll see it whenever my book gets finished. Oh, I just told was it Eric or Daniel, one of them, that oh no, I'm telling Lynette, this used to be a town, y'all.
Just before,
This used to be a town.
and thank you, Reverend Taylor, that historical fact. I mean, this is always definitely needed before we create this movement. Just one more thing I'm gonna say before we pass it on. We have to give credit and thanks to the organizers of this this town hall meeting. So I want to take time out and recognize Eris, Creech, Gail, Renee, myself, Japantown for assisting us, Ace for assisting us, some of those who's not here. And also, let's not beat up on each other. I know a lot of people have been saying that tonight, and Eris did a wonderful job explaining that
we did put on the flyer the Fillmore Heritage Center. We talked to Pia and some of the organizers, and there was a lot of conflict. There was someone passed away. So don't get discouraged if you think something was not addressed tonight. We always got tomorrow with the help of the Lord.
Yes.
So I want to pass it over to my OG right here.
Hello, I'm Sensei Kawahatsu, a congratulated retired minister, and also a member of We Are One. We all one, not two. We are all one. So I'm Alice's husband, and I'm a martial artist, also teacher calligraphy. Yeah, I think most important, who make food? Who make food? Who make food? Who? God? Yeah, God. God is, but God also nature. Nature. Some created 5 billion years ago, continue to give us life, energy, power, love, no, without one day vacation. One day, someone say, I'm not coming out. What happened? End of our life. However, say thank you to the sun.
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 Japanese, arigato. Arigato san. Also, mothers, how do you say thank you, mothers? Mothers, 4 billion years ago, continue survive, take care of us, 4 billion years. We have to thank you to the sun and the earth every moment, every day. That's the basic. Don't forget that.
We won't forget that.
I'm also laughter sensei. Every laugh, end of our meeting, just laugh together. Okay, that's a universal, that language. Laughter, whatever happened, daytime fight with the wife, husband, before sleep, laugh, and sleep, good sleep, okay? That's everybody should do it. All right, thank you.
I forgot 2 members. I want to recognize these 2 powerful sisters here, Monique and Chanel, as they are wonderful backers of the movement. My apologies. I be having senior moments too at the age of 55. Okay, let's get her in this back over there.
Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. We got a couple things. One thing, Kilgore, we got to do. We got to get a community meeting with him. We didn't heard from the community that they've been trying to make appointments with him. Anybody better make an appointment with him? With Dean Preston, our supervisor, District 5. Until November, we don't know who else is gonna be. But before that time comes, we send a message from the Fillmore, from the Town, from 94115, 94102. We want to see him. We want to see him. The next 2 things, we want to have 2. I know the city got their meetings. We want to have 2 follow-up meets. We want to go up the hill, 3rd Baptist, and then we want to come back down the hill at Japantown. Can we do that? Okay, can we do that? That's the 3 things we're going to do, right? We're going to have Dean Preston. We'll go to 3rd Baptist, have a meeting. Then we'll go to Japantown and have a meeting. Because we know the city got their meetings going on. We're going to attend them too, right? They're very great people. They're great from the Fillmore. So we want to join their meetings. But we still got to keep our community meetings going also. All right? We thank you for your time. You got a couple seconds that you want to say something? You got a couple seconds?
The Safeway alive, it's for all races and religions. San Francisco.
Thank you.
For all races
Yes.
and religions. And that's how we're going to
Yes.
live together, and love is the rule.
Thank you.
And we gotta pull it off.
Thank you.
Let's do it. And if you need- on
stay at? No, where do you stay at? That's where you at. Where you at? Okay, great. Now you're right there across the street. You're right there across the street. All right, right. Okay, so we got three things, right? We all good? Everybody signed up? The sign-in sheet and got the QR code for the city meetings, right? I don't want nobody here saying that they ain't got the information. You want to say something? Come on, come on. You want for food justice? Okay, okay. We still got some coffee left. Get some coffee, get a bottle of water, talk to your neighbor. Yeah.
Well, I finally got a word. One thing I want to say, my name is A.B. Archbishop Greg Richardson, and Black people pray. All people pray. Hasn't been one prayer in here tonight calling on God, if you believe in him or whatever you believe in, asking him to help us. You're not going to do it by yourself. You haven't done it in how long? So what I want to propose is that in the future, you visit each other's churches on a regular basis and pray together as one. If you are one, have you been to their church yet? Have they been to your church yet? Without you putting what you believe in first, you ain't going nowhere. I just want to keep you in mind with that. And mighty God, we ask you to give us thanks. We thank you for this moment in time. We thank you for our neighbors. Sit right next to your neighbor and turn to him and say, I love you. Love, say, I love you. Without love, you ain't going nowhere. So God, thank you so much for our brothers and our sisters. And thank you for our elders for staying in the game, helping the younger generation. I was going to give Reverend Brown, I'm going to give Reverend Brown a little run for his money. I got to let you know right now. But we'll talk about that some other time. Thank you so much.